Hi, this is Shiva Rajaya from vitalcoaching.com. We are talking about tantric sex and vital sex, and the topic for this video is why is Tantra so sexual in the West, so sexualized? You know, this is one of the core questions that you can ask yourself when you start engaging into the tantric field. It's like you go to India and you check what Tantra means for Indian people, and then you go into the West and you check what Tantra means for most Westerners. And you will see a big difference in terms of interpretation and practices. Like when you go to the West, you go to California and you ask people about Tantra, they will talk about something that we call Neo-Tantra. And the Neo-Tantra means that it's a sexualized approach to an energy and to a set of practices and mysteries that are much vaster than that. So the question that you can ask yourself is, why is it that Tantra is so sexual in the West? Why is it that we took that ancient tradition and filter it, and then eventually it becomes this set of practices that are aimed at creating intimacy and sexual connection between human beings? How did that happen? So I have a myth story or an interpretation that makes sense to me, and I want to share that with you. Okay? So imagine that the planet Earth is like this beautiful place where angelic forces, beings, gods and goddesses, very powerful intelligences have been visiting the planet and bringing in teachings to humankind. So you might have a teaching that comes up, you know, the energy of Isis 10,000 years ago starts taking root in ancient Egypt, and then it becomes this kind of blossoming of the ancient Egypt civilization. And then you have a prophet, Siddhartha, the Buddha, who comes and transmits Buddhism. And then you have other teachers that arrive and they start picking up on the energy of Tantra, which is this visiting sphere of beauty and bliss and unlimited potential, a god or angelic power-like energy, extremely vast, much vaster than any form of human intelligence. And that spirit of Tantra comes and visits the earth together with the spirit of yoga. And those two ones, you know, they are like sister energies arriving and hitting the planet at the same time, more or less. And Tantra incarnates itself and then eventually starts touching different human beings who become the channels for that energy. And those human beings are going to create a system, and that becomes a tradition. It becomes what we call the Tantra tradition. And now when people think about what is Tantra, for most people, they will go like, Tantra is that tradition. But imagine that Tantra is first a sphere of unlimited possibility, right? So that being who is the tantric experience comes and starts helping humankind in its evolution. It means that the spirit of Tantra is intelligent, it's conscious, and it's transmitting a certain knowledge or a certain energy into human consciousness. Why? Because human beings want to evolve. And so they are going to get hit by muse-like energies that are going to inspire them in taking certain steps. So the world is very different with Tantra or without Tantra. Since the spirit of Tantra arrived, it created a tradition and helped millions of people evolve in a certain way and eventually perfect or optimize their lives, you know, with teachings, sutras, practices, rituals that eventually create a system that allows us to evolve as human beings. So imagine that the spirit of Tantra is watching that from above. And suddenly it sees that in the Western world and on the planetary level in general, there is lots of dysfunctional behaviors concerning sexual energy. It looks at it and says, where are human beings in pain the most? You know, that's what I'm describing right now is a mental process, but imagine that there is an energetic reaction in the Tantra field that says, I'm going to invest and start manifesting and engaging and incarnating within the field of sexual energy. So you have like, you know, the spirit of Tantra comes and puts one first root in the ancient system of India, and now it's putting new roots on a planetary level, and it's reacting to what the needs are in the West. Sexual energy is extremely dysfunctional on the planetary level. We need help, literally. So where are we going to get this help from? Well, here we go. The spirit of Tantra goes, hey, pick me. I'm here to help. Why don't you guys channel some of that energy, and we're going to design a new system of sensuality and power and way of relating to each other from a place of honoring each other's needs, redignifying pleasure, bringing back the idea of energetic connection, of energy sex. You know, it's lots of new concepts and ideas that actually give you a pathway, a teaching on how to use your sexual energy. From my perspective, it makes total sense. It makes sense because I can perceive that there is a need on a planetary level, and I can see why a god-like or goddess-like energy would incarnate itself to come and give humankind a little help. You know, within the cosmic scheme of things and cosmic scheme of human evolution, it makes total sense that suddenly you have this force coming and saying, let's go and heal a little bit the sexual space. So we are going to start stimulating different people there to start becoming teachers and start activating certain mindsets and beliefs and ways of thinking. So when I'm transmitting here, when I'm talking about these things, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just a transparent agent who is receiving insights. And one day I wake up and I say, okay, time to record a new set of videos. Why? Because there's a need for it. There is a need for understanding. There is a need for understanding our sexual energy and how to use it from a place which is constructive, positive, respectful, and so on, rather than being trapped into the porn mindsets and the very destructive mindsets and the abusive mindsets and the traumatic mindsets. It's like we need some healing there. So how are we going to get this healing in? How are we going to get these fresh new impulses of energy? That's it. You know, Tantra for me is one of the possible answers. It's not the only one. You know, you have education systems, you have nonviolent communication, you have other systems that are empowering couples and empowering sexual activity. You know, you have more alternative lifestyles as well, which are in full exploration, blossoming. You have the polyamory community, and then you have other aspects of other teachings which are really focusing on the strengthening of the couple and creating very positive communication patterns, bringing back the passion from a therapeutic point of view. So you have all this effort and all this energy that is fresh energy coming into the field of sexual activity on the planet Earth, and the reason why it's happening is because we need it. That's it. That's my interpretation. The myth of the incarnation of the tantric spirit, for me, it's like it's a reality. It makes sense to me. I have the feeling when I think of it, oh, that's a story that I feel might be relatively close to what I think happened on this planet. This magnificent, incredible light being coming and incarnating itself on this planet. And it's an energy reality. It's not human-like intelligence. That's not the kind of intelligence we're talking about. It's not like, oh, I feel compassion and I feel pain because humans are in pain. No, let's talk about something that is vaster than that goes beyond human-like emotions. And it's an energy field that comes, incarnates itself. And right now it incarnates itself in the West with sexual practices, because this is where the needs is. This is where we have a limiting factor in our human evolution. And this is why we are not just duplicating a tradition from the past that was born in India. We are taking some of aspects of that tradition and then optimizing it, or actualizing it, rather than optimizing it, actualizing it to the Western mind, with the Western language, with Western concepts, and so on. So yeah, that makes sense to me. And what makes sense is really that Spirit of Tantra goes beyond any tradition. Keep that in mind. I hope this makes sense to you.